Joseph White, 1835 to 1918, emerged as a trailblazing Cuban-born violinist, establishing himself as a prominent figure in the realm of Western classical music during the 19th century. Hailing from Matanzas, a bustling port city known for its slave trade, White defied societal barriers and racial prejudices to achieve international recognition. As one of the few musicians of African descent to contribute to European musical culture, he left an indelible mark on the development of Latin American and Brazilian classical music. Born as José Silvestre de los Dolores White Lafitte in 1835, White's lineage reflected the complexities of colonial Cuba. His father, Charles or Carlos White, was the son of a white French merchant, while his mother, Maria Ecolástica Lafitte, was a black freed slave. Despite living as a family, their union remained unrecognized due to strict racial laws. Growing up amidst the cruelty of the slave trade, José White found solace and purpose in music, a profession that offered him a chance to excel in a society that limited opportunities for individuals of his heritage. White's musical journey commenced at the tender age of 5 under the guidance of his father, an amateur violinist. Recognizing his prodigious talent, he received mentorship from Afro-Cuban violinist José Miguel Roman and Belgian musician Pedro Lecerf. By the time he reached 19, White had mastered 16 different instruments. His exceptional skills on the violin garnered attention, leading to his debut concert at the Teatro Principal de Matanzas in March 1854, where he performed alongside American composer and pianist Louis Moreau Gottschalk, who lived between 1829 and 1869. Encouraged by Gottschalk, White set his sights on the Paris Conservatoire, and with his support, he secured the necessary funds to pursue his studies there. In 1855, White entered the prestigious institution and swiftly earned the Premier Prix in violin performance by 1856, studying under the tutelage of Jean-Delphin Allard, who lived between 1815 and 1888. Allard became a lifelong friend and mentor, supporting White throughout his apprenticeship and professional career. Here is an account of White's winning performance. The competition for violin at the Conservatory has offered a beautiful spectacle this year, being the most brilliant struggle. The first grand prize was conceded to Mr. White, pupil of Allard, and the second prize to Mr. Aimé Gros from the same class. Mr. White showed himself so superior that there should have been a grand exceptional prize in his favour. He performed with an extraordinary animation, not like a pupil, but as a great artist who commands his audience. The jury itself was electrified. While perfecting his art, White briefly returned to Cuba in 1858 due to his father's illness, continuing to perform and refine his skills. By his early 30s, he had matured both as a pedagogue and as a composer, completing his memorable violin concerto in F-sharp minor in 1864. White temporarily assumed teaching positions at the Paris Conservatoire, substituting for Allard and Martin-Pierre Mazic in 1865, while they were on extended concert tours. His expertise and reputation led to invitations to serve on the juries of competitions held by the Paris Conservatoire and the Brussels Conservatoire, and he could count esteemed violinists such as Jacques Thibault and Georges Enescu among students he taught. His set of Etudes, Opus 13, also became part of the Paris Conservatoire's curriculum in 1868. Between 1861 and 1874, White became deeply involved in the Parisian classical music scene, captivating audiences with his performances at renowned venues like Salle Erard, Salle Pleyel, and Salle Hertz. Additionally, he co-founded three music societies: Société des Trois Anciens et Modernes, 1865-70, Société Schumann, 1869-72, and Société de Musique de Chambre White de la Haye, 1872-73. White's musical prowess extended beyond Europe, as he performed globally and made New York his base during an extensive tour of the United States from August 1875 to July 1876. Throughout this period, he delivered over 33 performances in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Staten Island, Philadelphia, and Boston, with a significant number taking place in New York City and Brooklyn. Among these performances, his debut as the first soloist of African descent with the Philharmonic Society of New York in December 1875 stands out as a moment of immense cultural significance. The New York Times review of the 12th of December 1875 described the concert in this way: "The most interesting incident of the concert was the violin performance of Signor Joseph White. A purer tone, daintier phrasing, and truer intonation than characterized by this young artist's playing have never been enjoyed by the local public before. Possibly in Monsieur Wieniawski's execution of Mendelssohn's violin concerto there was a little more dash, but we are not sure that now and then, in accuracy of stopping, the older performer's work did not suffer a trifle by his wonderful brio. Senor White's delivery was simply perfect. The lovely andante of the composition revealing particularly the sweetness and expressiveness of his cantabile. Loud applause followed this part of the concert, but a very unusual demonstration of pleasure attended Signor White's later rendering of Bach's Chaconne, his reappearance on the stage being greeted with cheers. The violinist's interpretation of this piece has never been equalled here, and the tribute in which, by the way, the band united with the audience was fully merited." Founded in 1842, the Philharmonic Society of New York was the first major symphonic ensemble in the United States. The first violin soloist to appear with the orchestra was Vieuxtemps, who performed his Fantasie sur Norma, Opus 18, in 1844, and was made an honorary member of the orchestra. In the following decades, violin concertos were a routine programming choice after Carl Bergmann, who trained as a cellist, became the orchestra's main conductor in 1855. A string of violinists of the highest caliber appeared between 1869 and 1874, including Ole Bull in 1869 and 1870, Sarasate in 1872, Camilla Urso in 1873, and Wieniawski in 1873 and 1874. White's debut with the Society on the 11th of December 1875 took place at the Academy of Music on 14th Street and Irving Place, the city's majestic 4,000-seat venue for opera and orchestral music, with Bergmann conducting. He played Mendelssohn's Violin Concerto in E minor, until then the most performed violin concerto by the Society, and an audience favourite. His performance of Bach's Chaconne had made a strong impression during a previous White Cervantes concert tour, and he was given the honour of performing it as a programme solo in the second half of the concert. His playing captivated critics. In a later report on the 8th of January 1876, the correspondent of Dwight's Journal of Music, the country's leading Boston-based music periodical, also praised White's debut. Every part of the beautiful concerto was interpreted at the best, and I have seldom heard so satisfactory a rendering, while the Chaconne, which demands talent and artistic qualities of the very highest order, was equally well played. White's New York debut showcased his artistic and technical brilliance, earning him widespread critical acclaim. However, unlike his European counterparts, he did not embark on a nationwide tour, possibly due to the prevailing racial tensions and the aftermath of the Civil War. The country may not have been fully prepared to embrace a dark-skinned classical musician, prompting White and his promoters to exercise caution. From 1877 to 1879, White embarked on a journey through Latin America before eventually settling in Brazil. During his time there, he assumed the position of head of the Imperial Conservatory in Rio de Janeiro from 1879 to 1889. And served as a musician for the court of Brazilian Emperor Pedro II. Despite his travels and international success, White always maintained a deep connection to his Cuban roots. His compositions, totaling 32, beautifully captured the essence of the Romantic era, while incorporating the vibrant rhythms of Cuba. Among his most renowned works is La Bella Cubana. It is played often in Latin America and beyond, in arrangements for orchestra. La Bella Cubana is a habanera, a dance that was popular in Cuba during White's lifetime. White's final visit to the island of Cuba was in 1875, when he performed alongside his friend, Cuban pianist Ignacio Cervantes. Both were vocal in their support of the Cuban Liberation Army, and White even supported them financially through his concert earnings. The Spanish authorities found out and exiled both musicians shortly thereafter. During his time in Paris, White continued to compose and perform, although his fame and recognition began to wane. Despite this, he remained dedicated to his craft and continued to inspire and mentor younger musicians. He also maintained connections with his Cuban roots, often incorporating Cuban themes and rhythms into his compositions. White's legacy as a trailblazing musician and advocate for Cuban independence lives on today. His compositions, including La Bella Cubana, continue to be performed and celebrated, keeping his music alive and introducing new generations to his unique blend of European and Afro-Cuban influences. In recent years, there has been a renewed interest in Joseph White's life and work. Scholars and musicians have sought to shed light on his contributions and to ensure that he receives the recognition he deserves. His story serves as a reminder of the power of music to transcend boundaries and the importance of celebrating diverse voices in the classical music world. Joseph White's journey from a young violin prodigy in Matanzas to an internationally renowned musician in Paris is a testament to his talent, perseverance, and determination. He defied societal expectations and racial prejudices to leave an indelible mark on the world of classical music. Today, his legacy stands as a symbol of resilience and a reminder of the transformative power of music.